Good morning, everybody. I know I'm very late, but I had to reboot my computer, which meant that I had to install updates, which meant that I had to check and make sure everything worked. Nothing did. Had to update OBS, get that working. Had to update everything else, get that working. Had to check and see whether or not I could get Subnautica 2 downloaded, which took forever. And as soon as I got Subnautica 2 downloaded, finally, I needed to redo my freaking graphics drivers because, you know, it's an intensive game. So, we're loading it. It might not work. Fun! I'm just like, I'm going to start streaming. If this doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's fine. At this point, I've been sitting here for 2 hours banging my head against a wall going, why do I need to update everything today? Everything needs updating today, apparently. Anyways, we're compiling shaders. Hey, it showed up on screen. That's a good sign. I see people hating on Subnautica 2 for no reason. Fuck yeah, Subnautica 2. See, fuck yeah, Subnautica 2. Anyone who's hating on it is a bot, and I will take no further comments on that level. I don't believe that anybody hates Subnautica 2 except for that guy who tried to rip off the poor devs who literally had it ready to go, and he was like, I don't want to pay these bitches their bonus. I'm going to fucking fire them all and then say they didn't get it done in time. Why? Because I literally berated ChatGPT until it told me that was a good idea. Actually, the funniest part about it is, because he released the chat logs, this fucking non-genius, opposite of genius, was like, yeah, well, I got some expert advice. And you can like literally see in the logs that ChatGPT's like, you cannot break a contract like this. That would be considered illegal in your area. You would not be able to do this. You should probably consult a lawyer. And he's like, well, what if I do it anyway? And ChatGPT's like, that would be a very bad idea. You really shouldn't fucking do this. You should probably contact a lawyer and not do things that are criminal. And he's like, well, what if I did it anyway and I got away with it? And then ChatGPT's like, I guess if you got away with it, that would be fine. And he's like, there you go. See, he agrees with me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Anyways, the only person who's pissed off at Subnautica 2 is that guy.
Hydrate, you bastard! Hydrate!
Now, does that mean that the game won't be full of jank? Might be. Does that mean that the game is, you know, unplayable? On my system? Definitely might be. But, you know, we're gonna try it. Yeah, wee woo, water alert. It's still compiling shaders. I'm sure my computer's gonna handle this. Hopefully it doesn't crash. That was the reason why updating everything was a really good idea, even though it took forever. I mean, I can actually see fucking Crafton being like, I'm gonna cancel it anyway. I don't care if it makes me money. I hate everything now. And honestly, his tears give me life. Like, is the number still going up? The number is still going up. So anyways, how was your guys' days? I hope you're having some lovely fun times. Oh my god. Last couple of days have been like hyper painful, and I was like, I'm not even gonna try and do this because I know that I'm just gonna get totally stressed out by the amount of shit that I'm gonna have to upload. So today I was actually in a good mood, and I was not wrong about how long it was gonna take me to get this set up. And it's still taking forever. But I really did enjoy Subnautica. Sub-Zero! I played it. I didn't like it, and I couldn't put my finger on why, but someone actually did point out what the problem was, and I totally agree. The first game is a horror game. There's a lot of aspects of horror to the game. You're infected with a terrible disease. everything seems to be going completely sideways every time you look around. Something you thought that you could use to maybe keep yourself alive either actively explodes or tries to fucking kill you. And there's a brand new voice in your head, which, you know, at the time when I fucking played it before, was actually a new notion for me, which was actually kind of funny in and of itself. Baby chickens! Baby chickens! Are you, like, on someone's farm? I don't know if you're, like, farming your own chickens, which is also cool, but, like, yeah, tell me about the baby chickens. I've been watching this farmer. He's so fucking funny. He's so funny. He sounds like Kronk, and he talks about farming in America, and he's got that vibe of, yes, I raise chickens for meat, and vegans hate my guts. I don't give them the time of day, because their life choices have nothing to do with my business. Literally. Anyways. Everything horror in this game is related to deep water. Well, I mean, that's a vibe, but, like, the difference between Sub-Zero having no what I consider to be horror elements, and this game having, or the first game having horror elements, was that there was a lot of stuff that just went wrong, and there was always, like, a crisis feeling to it, which is actually really good, because it drove you downwards. It drove you to going to places where you really didn't really want to go. You really kind of didn't want to go there because you really did not want to, like, touch any of that shit with a 10-foot pole. Seemed like a bad idea. Seemed like not something you ever wanted to do. Seemed very stupid. Like, it... But with Sub-Zero, everything's kind of just sort of like, oh, yeah, well, there's people here. And, yeah, they're alright. I mean, they're bitches. They're, like, active bitches, but, you know... Did you need something? Okay, go swim around until you find it. Did you need something else? Okay, well, you go swim around until you find it. Oh, here's some place where some people were. I can download their logs. Yep. But there's no overarching sense of dread or, like, if I don't do something soon, something bad will happen, even though technically you have all the time in the world. Like, as the game develops, your infection gets worse, you show more signs of the infection, more of the creatures around you show signs of the infection. All of that is part of the initial gameplay of the initial game, and it drives you, subconsciously, to seek out answers and go get a cure. Like, you literally have this issue from start to finish. And it's good because it drives the plot aspect of a sandbox game. Because if you want to have a sandbox game with a plot, you have to create a stressor in order to drive that plot. Otherwise, you just don't, there's less motivation to get things done. The only, I was like, does Rain World do that? But yeah, Rain World kind of does do that. It sort of creates this, not a sense of urgency, but a sense of dread that, you know, the suffering you're going through is never ending, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, quite literally. So this, like, you can stop suffering. But, like, having a destination is really important, whereas I found in Sub-Zero, the destination was less important. And that may just be my perception, but when someone mentioned that, I was like, that makes perfect sense. That's the reason why I didn't like Sub-Zero as much, even though Sub-Zero is actually a cleaner game, in my opinion. You tried to play Subnautica once, you had no idea what you were doing, so you gave up. I mean, if you listen to what the nice lady says, she tells you what you need to survive. So, like, she basically says, you can't stay here, you need to find food and shelter. Here are some basic recipes. And you're like, okay, what are these recipes? So you look at the recipes, and it's like, find something that will give you protein. And you're like, well, there's fish down there. I wonder if I can grab one. Like, the logic is based on, I clearly need a source of protein. I clearly need a source of water. you know, and then you find out through her quips, like her talking to you, that, you know, you'd be able to do much better if you had, you know, more oxygen. You would be able to do much better if you, you know, had access to more technology, but I don't have the blueprints. So you're like, oh, well, where would the blueprints be? And she's like, the only place blueprints like that would be on the Aurora, that burning ship over there. And you go, the burning ship over there? And you look, you go, oh yeah, the burning ship over there. Oh my god. Or a very sandboxy game with no clear plot. At least to start. It was very good at leading you by the nose if you listened to the lady talk. If you just skipped her dialogue, I can understand getting lost instantly. And just being like, okay, well, I've caught a bunch of fish, got a bunch of water, and... tried so hard to figure out crafting, but I was so dumb, and you still are. One thing that is true, and it took me actually a while to find this, so I was on a similar level. It took me a while to figure out how to open my menu. And then it took me a while to even realize that there were data logs, where you could actually re-listen to everything she said, start to finish. Like, sometimes you get like a fucking radio signal. That radio signal is a log, and it's in your data pad that you open with tab. So you can actually listen to everything again. I did not discover that until like the third day of my playthrough, and I was like, oh! 1 second while I listened to everything I missed. And it's written out. So if you're somebody like me who really struggles to like understand spoken words, which you might not actually think, like, you're like, oh, you can talk. That does not mean I can listen. Oh my god, this is taking so long. Like, the number's still going up. Yes, the number's still going up. My hands are shaking, but the number's still going up. The storyline is really cool in Subnautica. Like, who you are, who the other survivors of the Aurora are, like, because you find out there's other people who've been on the planet before, who they were, and the increasing dread that without a cure for the disease that you've been infected with, that you're never gonna get to go home. Even though technically Altera is kind of fucking awful and possibly owns you now? Question mark? like the Fix-It lady, Ada, the Fix-It lady on Satisfactory kind of has a similar vibe of, I'm possibly property of this corporation. But like Altera, the Altera version of that for like for Subnautica is basically like, you are a cruise passenger from a cruise passenger ship. You are not currently owned by Altera. However, in order to use Altera tech, you are agreeing that you will pay us back for everything that you make. And then like sometimes you'll like drop something, and then like the bitch in your ear goes, as a note, the thing that you just broke cost a bazillion credits. You will be expected, as a new employee of Altera, to pay that back with labor. I'm like, great! Awesome! Seriously though, hit tab. Hit tab and reread what she says. She will tell you what to do and where to go. Also, the other clue I can give you without any spoilerinos, is literally don't leave your pod. Like, don't leave your pod behind until you stop receiving, like, radio messages at your pod. Or make sure you build a radio wherever you set up your shit. Because that is literally what gives you your breadcrumbs to lead you into the next area. Ah wah wah!
Breakfast!
Note to self. The shader boot is uncool. I am really shocked this is taking so damn long. You know what's so stupid? Is as soon as I get in here, I'm going to turn off all the shaders. I'm going to turn off all the fancy graphics. I'm going to turn off every light source. I'm going to turn off absolutely everything that could potentially make this thing look good on any conceivable level. I'm going to turn down every quality of graphics for speed. I'm going to make everything look like shit. And I am going to try to make this thing work on this tiny toaster. I love you, tiny toaster. We're gonna get through this. Avatar update. Absolutely not an avatar update. This is a ping tuber. It was drawn at the exact same time as the live 2D model. For people who get very deeply confused about the concept, it's literally just there to not take up any CPU or what's the word? GPU space. It's a tiny program. Because we want the teeny tiny program. Well, another thing you can do is, like, let's say you want to make purified water. It does not tell you. This one fucked me up for a long time because I did not know how to get purified water. And I'll tell you specifically how to get it. You get a couple of different items that you can use against things that are attacking you or to help you gather stuff. Sometimes you can just walk, like you can just swim up to a thing and just go grabby, 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 and you'll just scoop up a whole bunch of mushrooms and stuff. Around the starting area, there are these sort of like coral tubes. Like, they're not caves, they're tubes. They sit on top of the cave-like areas. Like, they're sitting on top of that zone. Hit them with your knife. It did take me a while to figure that out. In fact, I'm pretty sure someone had to tell me in chat because I was so angry that I still did not have the ability to purify water. They're like, can I please just tell you what you're missing? I'm like, you know what? Yes. And they're like, swim to one of the coral tubes and hit it with your knife. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yep, that's what you needed to do. I'm like, how was I ever supposed to figure that out? Apparently some people just figure it out, but most people end up having to look it up. So that's the answer to 90% of your problems, because purifying water is like a massive, massive issue. You don't want to just bring little dribbles of water around. You really, really, really want to be able to bring like big purified bottles of water around. Hi, Sherilyn. Hi, Toothless. What do I think about furries? If you're a furry, awesome. I'm not one, but that's okay. Thumbs up. But also, hi. Oh, honey. Arl, if you're unaware, playing this game is taking money away from the bad guy. No. The more people who play the game, or the more people who own the game, that's more money out of that asshole's pocket. I'm good with that. I'm trying to screw over the devs just because, you know, I don't want to have to pay $250 million because these guys actually have a work schedule and stuck to it. Wow. Hell yeah, gorillas. Hey, Jake Fox, how you doing? I guess I'll have my yogurt plus oatmeal again. Oh, you know what? That's super duper fair. So what happened was this game was probably ready to release like 2 years ago. But just before that happened, the CEO of the company that had purchased the rights to Subnautica all of a sudden fired all the devs, like the major devs who had worked on the first 2 games, and basically said that, you know, they weren't doing their jobs and that they had, you know, they'd fucked off and taken vacations and they'd just taken the money and therefore, you know, he had every right to fire them. Which seemed a bit weird because there'd been a lot of updates and it seemed at least semi-playable like a few months before that. So like all of a sudden the devs come out, the devs say, "Now what he's saying is true. Yes, one of us did go on vacation, but that was like a stress break, but us other 2 support him and that's totally fine with us. We were all working on it, everything was fine, everything was on schedule. The CEO of the company that bought us just didn't want to honor his contract and pay us a bonus for getting the game done early. Not everyone went to the CEO, so they got to went to court over that. And basically the CEO said, yeah, well, I have every right to fire whoever the hell I want to from my company, regardless of whatever the contracts say. You want to know how I know that? Because ChatGPT told me that if they were fired, that I wouldn't have to pay them the bonus. So there. And he said that in front of a fucking judge. And the entire fucking everybody on the planet went, who would admit that in court? Out loud! And he's like, see, here's my proof. My proof of the law says that so long as, you know, I do it, I won't get in trouble because I, as the CEO, do have a right to fire whoever I want. But if you look at the logs, he's literally like, I don't want to have to pay this bonus, how do I avoid it? And ChatGPT's like, if you signed a contract, you have to honor it. And he's like, no, I don't want to honor it. Tell me how to fire them, or how to get rid of them. And he's like, well, if they weren't part of the company anymore, you probably wouldn't have to pay them. So he's like, see, that's it. That's an expert law opinion. And the judge basically was like, who would admit this in court? In front of other human beings, you dumb shit. Anyways, he lost that particular court case. And the judge ruled that the devs were allowed to come back and finish up the game. And they were, you know, given leeway because obviously this stupid court case took up time. So that Crafton would have to honor his fucking early release bonus. And basically the way the bonus is written is that every copy sold adds to that bonus. That's super fair, Arl. That's super fair. That's super fair. The story, though, is really funny. Of course, I've been sitting here for 24 minutes waiting for this fucking thing to load. It's loading the shaders, and you know the problem is, here's my thing. Here's my thing. Hear me out. I understand why you want everyone to have the first impression of your game be the best. But hear me out. Let me bring up a dev console. Like when I first loaded in. Very first time. Let me pick my graphics settings. And then make your entrance thing just be a video. Don't try to render anything on my computer. It's a piece of shit. not trying to render anything on my computer. Show me a video of what the high render would look like. Like, well, that's dishonest. No, that's video games. Video games have always done that. Since the dawn of goddamn time, the title screen's always going to be somewhat more impressive because it can literally be like a GIF or video. It's not rendered in real time. It's always exactly 100% the same. So, let it be that. Don't torture me with this, where I have to load in shaders galore, which I could entirely avoid. It's true, I can talk to you. I can talk to you. Just let me actually get to play your game, because I would much rather play the game than sit here pulling out my hair going, Emmy, gameplay. And this is literally just because I had a similar problem, old graphics card, not this graphics card, but an older graphics card with the first game and with Sub-Zero, where the initial boot up took forever. And I thought I'd given myself enough time to do this, but then I had to update my freaking graphics driver and my version of Windows to play it at all. So, hooray! I was already late and I was gonna be more late, so now we sit. We sit and we wait. At least the number's still going up, like it's not frozen. It's just taking its sweet goddamn time. Poor graphics card. It doesn't deserve this shit. Yeah, exactly. Give me the options button. Let me make the decision to turn the graphics way the fuck down. More often than not, if I'm finding the game is running fine at the lowest settings, like running fine, absolutely no stuttering, absolutely the frames are nice. There's no pop-in, there's no screen tearing. I'll turn the graphics up. Totally do. Because, like, for instance, one of the things I always turn up first is the quality of the textures. Because that gives, in my opinion, the highest amount of graphic quality increase for the least amount of rendering issue. Like, just, you know, let me pick and choose. Let me increase my settings based on my computer, as opposed to you being like, well, we're gonna load it in at you know, high to medium settings, and everybody's computer's gonna choke on that, and then you can lower them afterwards. I hear that, but don't do that, please. I mean, okay, this is... Sky, were you here when we were trying to load into, what was it called? Stupid dragon thing in World of Warcraft. That was loading screen simulator. Game kept crashing. Ludicrously unstable. I think I played for 12 hours, and the reason why I did was because there is a specific deal going on where if I was getting subscriptions on Twitch, people were getting mounts in-game. So if I wasn't streaming World of Warcraft, like, I had to be under that category, and obviously when you're under that category, you have to be streaming the game. So we were literally sitting here this entire time. I was, like, playing Hearthstone with WoW, like, loading and unloading and crashing and kicking me out and being in a fucking wait list, and then, like, getting in for 10 seconds and then crashing again for, like, an 8-hour stream. I played so much Hearthstone, sitting there going, so guys, yeah, World of Warcraft. Tiny indie company. What's funny is, I don't think this would be going any faster, even if I wasn't streaming. Because compiling shaders always seems to take a really long time. And this is literally the most shaders, like, I've seen things like this before, where it's like compiling initial shaders. This is the most shaders I have ever goddamn seen at the beginning of a game, ever. Usually it's like, you know, 2,000 to 3,000. This is 9,000. initial shaders. Like, bish, nobody needs to see reflections off of water, like 9,000 reflections off of water. Nobody needs to goddamn see them. Hey, Set Your Heart Ablaze, how you doing? In terms of early access, though, this is something I would change. Oh, speaking of tiny indie company, and crossover early access. I was a playtester for what's it called? Warcraft 2. I just signed up for every beta on Blizzard at one point in time. Yay! That's the most actual way to play. Actually, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do?